Good morning, friends. I'm so excited to start another week here. As you can see, I worked on the pink wheelchair blanket over the weekend. I worked on it a little bit Friday night after work, and then I worked on it Saturday. And I will tell you guys what, I wasn't counting, I was being really lazy. And I got all the way up to like where I stopped right now. And I did a count. And right in here, oh my gosh, you guys, I only had 7 double crochets instead of 8. And I was like, you're kidding me. So then I went back and I found the mistake, and my mistake was back here. And I literally frogged Saturday night all of this right here, or maybe it was Saturday morning. Whatever, it was a lot, guys. I had to frog it all. And so anyhow, I just had missed a stitch. So to get it back to 8, I just couldn't let it go. It was too big of a faux pas to just like let it slide. So that is my horrible frogging story for over the weekend. But yeah, it is a really beautiful blanket. It's working up really nice. There are links to the pattern, guys, on the link tree. If you're watching me this morning over on YouTube, you can look in the description of the video, and there will be a link there as well to the PDF pattern. Now, Gen X over on TikTok just said her mountains. I sorry, Gen X. I couldn't read that fast enough. My valleys on these, the beginning stitch is pulling. So I think you're meaning right in here. Let's look at this one. You mean right here, Gen X? I don't know what you mean by pulling. Maybe Gen X, send me a picture over on Discord so I can see a visual. That might help, okay? But guys, this pattern is the With Love pattern, and it's a modified from the big textured version. And it's a very simple double crochet. So this is the actual With Love pattern. You can find this on my link tree. We've done this a number of times. We did it on the veterans blanket and some of the others, but it's got lots of different texture rows. And one of the things I like to do on this pattern is sometimes I'm not in the mood to deal with all these stitches, right? Like it's a lot. And so what I like to do is just do this double crochet row and do that one row over and over and over again. So I simplified and I made this really easy version of the pattern. And this is on the link tree with a picture of this pink yarn and blanket and stuff. Okay. But basically, the way that I did this is I did a starting chain of 20. Okay. So I chained up 20, and then I said to myself, is this big enough? Yes or no? And if the answer was no, then I crocheted another 20. And I kept repeating that. Is this big enough? Yes or no? No, do another. So then I had 60, and I kept going on and on and on. And so I ended up doing that a total of 6 times. 6 times 20 is 120. And then I added 2 inches. And that gave me a wheelchair size blanket of about 35 inches wide. And now what I'm doing is I'm just repeating this one row. I put a number of the rows here on the pattern, but they're the same row. Okay. So I just am doing this over and over and over again. I crochet one, I turn my work, I come back the other direction. We're going to do that again today. We did this on Friday from scratch, and now I thought it would be just good to spend another day with this. And I am using today a size I9 5.5 millimeter hook, which is what my yarn calls for. And you can see here, I've got my Red Heart Super Saver, super economical. And this is the color Baby Pink. Now, these variegated rows that I'm doing here, you can see on this pretty color here. This is a Caron Jumbo. Yep, Caron Jumbo. Okay. And this is in the colorway Rosewood. Now, here's the thing. One of these yarns I'm using called for an I9 hook, and one of them called for an H8. So the Rosewood called for H8. However, you can see here, my red heart called for an I9, which is actually a larger size hook. So for this blanket, I'm going with the bigger size hook, the I9. So if you're ever in that situation, always go with the biggest size and you'll find that it works up better rather than trying to squish one tighter. But these are both four medium weight and 100% acrylic. So I'm kind of mixing those. And then I'm also doing a soft white, which is just red heart super saver. I have big jumbo rows skeins of this and I'm just doing soft white on those. So anyhow, without further ado, we're going to get into making more of these rows and catching up on the comments here. Let's see. Never mind. When you look at the blanket overall, you don't see it. It's just that row as I work it. Yeah. So I think what you're mentioning here is sometimes when you're working on the valley stitch, this stitch right here can get a little bit bigger. But when you come back and do the next row, it kind of addresses that issue, right? That just is kind of the nature of when you do a decrease here. So you can see here, I ran out of yarn. This was my first skein. So my first skein, I got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these pink rows. And I'm going to do a total of 9 of these groups of pink. So let me pop out my stitch marker here and get my crochet hook and let's do some crocheting. I know there's a number of people that are working on this blanket. Gen X, as mentioned, is working on it over on TikTok. Also, did I see Sparky here this morning? I don't know if Sparky's up yet. But Sparky, I know, is working on this blanket. She just tagged me in a post last night, which I shared out on my TikTok. So I know Sparky's working on it, and Mama C is working on the blanket as well. And so, anyhow, Gen X says, I just watched Sparky's post. So, Mary Kay on TikTok says, so what if your pattern says one hook and the yarn is a different hook? I always go with the hook size. So, for example, when I wrote this pattern, it was kind of with an I9 hook. But if I'm going to use like a 3-weight yarn, like say I wanted to use ice cream yarn for this and do a baby blanket, a 3-weight yarn will call for sometimes a smaller size hook. I would go with that. Let's say you want to jump up to a bulky weight and all of a sudden you're using a J or a K hook, right? I wouldn't stick with the pattern. I would go with the size of the yarn, size the yarn recommends. That's what I would do in that situation. And then you might have to do a stitch sampler to kind of see the width of your stitches and how that works out. But with this pattern, it's very forgiving. You can go with a smaller size yarn, you can go with a larger size yarn. It doesn't really matter because all you're doing is you crochet up a chain, and then you can see when you get it kind of the width that you want, you're obviously doing 20, 20, 20, 20, right? Then you just stop and add 2. So it's very easy, and you can use it with any size weight yarn. Very flexible. So if you are just learning the chevron or you've been wanting to learn it, some of the chevron patterns are kind of complicated, meaning that they have lots of textures. Like, for example, the Hugs and Kisses blanket by the Crochet Crowd. We all love the Hugs and Kisses, but it does have some more complicated stitches in it. So sometimes if you're just getting started into your crocheting, it's good to start with kind of a simpler pattern. So this is a good example of that. Another pattern that I would recommend if you're just getting started into your chevron is by Amanda Crochets, and it's called the Modern Chevron. You'll see me do that one on the live as well. It's a free pattern. You can find the link on her. There's one on my link tree linking to her pattern, but she's over on YouTube and also on there's a written pattern on her website. So again, that's Amanda Crochets, the Modern Chevron. The difference between this and Amanda's pattern is this has more of a peak on it. Hers is more rounded. So hers is kind of like more rolling hills, whereas I think of this one kind of more like mountaintops. So that's a really, really pretty. Oh yeah, Mary just chimed in and said, "I'm trying to make the modern baby blanket." Yeah, it's a great pattern. I've made that a number of times. So anyhow, really, really nice pattern. Um, Deborah over here on YouTube says, "My hubby doesn't bother me when I crochet. I trained him well." I have one of those too, Deborah. I'm very lucky. He's over here scrolling for auto parts and truck parts and all that, and I'm just over here crocheting, doing my thing. Guys, if you hear a lot of dog collar shaking and bowls rattling, the dogs are playing this morning, so they're kind of all stirred up. They'll settle down here in a little bit, but if you hear a lot of weird random noises, it's the dog with the puppy playing. Big brother and puppy are playing. So let me count these, just make sure I'm doing this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am going to talk about these stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this side here, and then I'm going to turn my work, and then I'll talk about these stitches. But I just wanted to catch up with everybody a little bit this morning. So anyhow, I hope you all had a fabulous weekend. I'll tell you what, it was 71 degrees here in Alabama yesterday. Like, can you believe that? Who would have thought? Here we are in February and it's 70. Wow, it was so nice outside. The dogs were running around the house. I'll tell you what, I put them out in the side yard and I said, "Go play. Here's your toys." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it was nice and sunny, and I just thought, boy, you guys need to get outside and enjoy this sunshine. Okay, so I am just finishing this row here. I will mention whenever you finish a row, instead of 8 as you go up the mountain, you're going to have a second stitch here. So you're going to have a total of 9 stitches. Into this very last stitch, you place a second stitch. And the reason why is you can see my blanket. I have very nice straight edges. Well, let me get on frame and then you can see. Very nice straight edges. And the reason why is because you can see I have 8 crochets here. See how this one leans over? It kind of leans back. What you have to do is add a second double crochet right into that same stitch, and that will straighten up your edge. So you'll see it go from kind of leaning to now see how that straightened that up. So that is very important when you're working on your chevron blanket. Most every pattern that I have seen always has 2 stitches in the very last row. So in the very last here, and then when I turn, I'm going to do that again. Thank you for the heart me and becoming a member of the team this morning. I'm not sure how many team members we have now, but you guys can send a heart me if you have 1 coin. You can do that every single day and be a part of the team. So thank you so much. Um, so now I'm going to turn my work. And the way that I do this is I chain 2. Now, one thing I want to mention, you can chain 3. Sometimes people like to chain 3. And I'm going to show you all why I do not like to do the chain of 3. So I've chained up 3 here, and now I'm going to turn this blanket over. I got to move my yarn here. I might have to move my yarn over here to the side. And as we just mentioned, we need to remember to put a second double crochet into that same stitch. So this chain of 3 counts as our double crochet. And then here's our second double crochet. Now, the reason why I don't like doing a chain of 3 is, can you see how this is bowing out here and it's got this kind of big loop? So for me, I prefer to do a chain of 2. So watch what happens when I remove this double crochet. And now I'm going to make it go down by 1. So now I've only got a chain of 2 here. Now I'm going to go back and put in my double crochet. Do you see how this kind of scooched up? It's no longer bowed way out. So one thing, when you guys, again, remember A pattern is a set of guidelines. You have to sometimes modify that to go with what works best with your crocheting. And so that's why I prefer this chain of two. You can see my edges here are very, very straight the whole way. I went through and I wove in all my ends this morning, and I'm actually being a good girl. But it's because I'm doing this chain of two, okay? Now, whenever we go down the valley, so you can see this here is the valley, and here is the tippy top. This is our mountaintop. Whenever we go down, we have 8 stitches. Whenever we go up, we have 8 stitches. So 8 double crochets down, 8 double crochets up. Then in the valley here, we have 3 together, and then on the end, remember we always have 1 extra. So if we look at this on our diagram, just so you guys are understanding, you can see here we have our chain of 3. Here is our second double crochet. So that's crochet number 2. Then there's 7 more here. So there's a total of 9 as we go down on this very first edge. Then you have this kind of triangle looking stitch. This is a 3 together. The reason that I know that is I come over here on the stitch diagram and it says DC 3 together. So double crochet 3 together. You'll also see it 3 together double crochet, which is what I typically call it. Then we're going to go back up the mountain. And again, we have 8 double crochets. Now you say to yourself, how does she know those are double crochets? It looks like a T with a little line through it. Again, you come over here to your legend and you find the matching stitch and it tells you that is a double crochet. So that is how you read the diagram. Okay. Then I go up the mountain. So we have 8 of those. Then here at the very tippy top, you can see again, there's like this V shape with an extra line. So this is, they're not together like this one, but these are 1, 2, 3 double crochets. And see how they all go into that one little oval? That is your chain. So again, here's your chain up here on your diagram. So this tells me when I get to the top of the mountain, I'm going to do 3 double crochets into that one chain. Okay, so let's go through and find a place to put all this stuff here this morning. Get my yarn here. So here we go. Here is our chain of 2. That's our first one. Into that same uh, stitch there, we have another double crochet. So there's 2. So here's number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we need one more because we need 9 when we go down. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Always have that little extra one. So now here we are to the valley. Okay, you can kind of see on the row below. Here was our 3 together that we did on the row below. So what I like to do is turn my work a little bit and get an idea of the next 3 stitches. So you can see them here, 1, 2, 3. Now this sounds complicated, guys, but it's really not. So what I do, I start a double crochet into this first stitch. Yarn over, I go under both bars, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now here's where the magic happens. Do not finish this stitch. You're just going to hold this. Into the next stitch, number 2 here, we're going to start yet another double crochet. Yarn over, again, go under both bars, grab up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now again, holding. We're gathering these little loops on our hook. So we've done 2, now we need 3. So here's the third stitch. And again, start a double crochet. Yarn over, go under both bars, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, do not finish. So you can see here we have our starting loop. Down below we have 3 unfinished double crochets, total of 4 loops up on top. So now what we need to do is we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull this yarn under all these loops all at once, okay? So you want those to squish together, okay? When you do that squishing together, this is also referred to as a decrease. You'll hear it called that. But you're three together basically by squishing it up. This is what is forming this little valley here. So instead of being out straight, you squish them up and it pulls it together. Okay, so now we're ready to head back up the mountain. So again, when you go up the mountain and down the mountain, you always have 8. So I'm going to do 8 double crochets. Now I'm looking for my landmark. So I look to the top of my mountain of the row below, and you can see here's where I did the 3 double crochets into that one chain space. See how it's there? So 1, 2, 3. The very center one is going to be the new tippy top of our mountain. So when I get here, again, I'm going to repeat these 3 double crochets into this very tippy top. So between here and here is where I'm going to put the 8 double crochets. And I just do 1 into each of these stitches. I am going under both bars. So nothing fancy, just straight old double crochets under both bars. 8 times, putting 1 into each of the stitches until we reach the mountaintop. Okay, so again, I'm looking for this landmark. You can see here's our 3. The first one gets a double crochet. This is our new mountaintop. So in theory, I should have just made 8. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right on the money. Woohoo! Okay, so now here we are in the mountaintop. And again, we're going to do 3 double crochets right into this exact same stitch. We're not doing them together. This is what is called an increase, okay? So when you do an increase like this, your stitches fan out. So this allows us to come up over the mountain, crest the mountain, and fans out a little bit, and now we're ready to head back down the mountain to the valley. Okay, so again, here is our valley stitch. I'm always mindful of the markers. And now I need to do 8 double crochets as we head down the mountain. So again, just looking for that landmark, but you can definitely count these and make sure that you have the proper amount. Guys, is this helpful as I am explaining these stitches? Now, as I do the double crochets, guys, I'm kind of going fast through these just to kind of get them placed in there, but we're going to go back and count them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's number 8. You can see this is where I tied on here. So let me take a minute and just weave in this tail here and catch up on some of the comments. I have seen a lot of new followers popping up over here on TikTok. I'm sorry on YouTube, I don't get to see the new subscribers as those are happening, but I do see them on TikTok. So, guys, if you are new to my channel while I weave in these ends, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is April, and I am a hobby crocheter. I do have a full time job, and I have been crocheting for 40 years. And I have learned so much from so many of the folks that I follow in the crochet world. You guys know I love Mikey at the Crochet Crowd, and I just have a number of people that have really influenced me and changed my crochet journey. As I've learned new stitches, it wouldn't be if I didn't have all of them kind of influencing my life and learning as I go type thing. And so one of the reasons why I decided to come on to TikTok and YouTube is to maybe just inspire somebody else. Maybe you're new in your crochet journey and you come on here and you see some new stitches, or maybe you get encouraged to try something that you see. Maybe it's this fabulous community that we have, and you just enjoy chatting with friends in the morning. Maybe you've thought about taking up crochet, but you've just never kind of had the confidence to do that. This is a very safe space where I can, kind of teach about crochet stitches and share in some of the projects that I do, and maybe just inspire some people in their crochet. And we have a fabulous group. If you're interested in getting onto the Discord, we have a crochet chat server. The link is in the link tree. I do come on live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. Central Time, and I stay on until 8:30. At which time I hop off and feed the dogs and fill the bird feeders and get ready to go to work. And I do work remote. I live in Northeast Alabama. My husband and I relocated here about 4 years ago from Arizona. And I just absolutely love it here. Now, I do still work remote in Arizona. So that allows me time in the morning to come on and crochet before work. And so, anyhow, that's just a little bit about me. Now, I am live both this morning on TikTok and on YouTube. And after we are done with the live, I will then publish out this tutorial that we've done this morning, and you could rewatch it if you need help with making this pattern over on YouTube. My handle over there is Wheeler 8 Acres. And so you can find all of our past lives there as well. So, anyhow, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself and say hi and welcome, welcome, new friends. I'm so, so glad you have found us. And I hope that you guys are all having a great week. But I'm super excited to be here working on this blanket. There are links on the link tree to the PDF pattern. This is the With Love pattern, and it is the modified With Love. So if you are first coming on, this is the original pattern. You can also find this on the link tree. I created this pattern the morning that my father passed. We lost him December 22nd. The way I express myself is through crochet, and it's kind of a just really nice outlet for me. And so this pattern in itself has lots of different textures. It is a repeating pattern. So if you're looking for more of a challenge, you could definitely check out this pattern. Now, one of the things I like to do is a simplified version of this because let's face it, sometimes I'm not in the mood to do all of these stitches. So, what I like to do is just the first row, and I do the first row over and over and over again. So, that is what I am working on today. And there is a link to this PDF on the link tree. I put it on my Dropbox, but I did a starting chain of 20. Okay, so I chained 20 and then I said to myself, is this big enough? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then you chain two and then you're ready to start your double crochets. If the answer is no, then you add another 20. Again, ask yourself this question: is it big enough? Yes or no? I did that a total of 6 times for the blanket that I have in my lap today. So I did 26 times to come up with 120. And then I added 2, and that is part of the turning chain here. So this chain of 3 that you see here is included in this count. Okay, so you're not going to do 122 and then add 3 more. You're just going to do 122. Then you're going to go into the 4th chain from your hook and start your double crochets working across. So that is how this pattern works. And I like to just change it up with colors and do different colorways with it. For the wheelchair blanket, I really love to do 5 rows of the color, 2 rows of the white, a variegated row, and then more rows of the white. And then I'm back to the 5 rows of the pink. Here is another example of this. Same thing you can see here. I did the lavender, then my white, then I did the variegated, again 2 rows, and then my purple. Now I'm going to crochet this up a total of 45 inches. That is the best size for a wheelchair blanket, 35 by 45. But this is an adjustable pattern, so you can make this bedspread size. You could make it 50 inches like a lap blanket if you wanted it for your couch. So really lots of possibilities. So that's a little bit about the pattern. Now, guys, as I'm kind of teaching these stitches and explaining I may miss some of your comments. And if you are a new follower, I just want you to know I'm not intentionally trying to overlook you or your comment. We have fabulous moderators here, Gen X and Annabelle, who do a really great job of pinning the comments for me, so I can try to keep up. On days when it's really busy, there's a lot of comments flowing in, and so sometimes other folks will try to help answer the comments for me as well. We have a lot of people who come and watch me every day, and those folks will help answer as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's talk a little bit about these stitches, okay? So basically, I just finished a mountaintop here. And at the tip of the mountaintop, we need 3 double crochets into one stitch. You can see them there. Then I head down to the valley and I place 8 double crochets, one into each of these stitches. Then when I'm down to the valley, I'm ready to do a 3 together double crochet. So the colors that this pink blanket are, Ladybug, is Red Heart Super Saver, and this is baby pink. And then I'm using the white is Red Heart Super Saver, soft white. And then I'm using the Caron Jumbo. And this really pretty yarn is called Rosewood. It's really a nice yarn. And so, anyhow, I am mixing brands. They both are, or all three of them, are 100% acrylic 4-weight yarns. And I am using a size I9 hook this morning. Okay, so in the valley here, I kind of turn my work a little bit so I can get an idea of where these 3 stitches are. So you can see them here, 1, 2, and 3. And what we're going to do is what is called a decrease. We're going to put these 3 stitches together. Now, this sounds complicated. Guys, it's really not. And what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over. I'm going to go under both bars of the first stitch, grab up a loop. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. And now I'm just going to hold. Do not finish that double crochet. Then I'm going to look to the second stitch here, and I'm going to start yet another double crochet. So again, yarn over, go under both bars, grab up a loop, and again, yarn over and pull through 2. So again, we're going to hold that. Do not finish. Now we have 2. We need a total of 3. So I'm going to move to the third stitch here. Again, yarn over, go under both bars, grab up a loop, and again, yarn over and pull through 2. So now you can see we have our starting loop here on the right. Down below, we have 3 unfinished double crochets. Total of 4 loops up on top. And now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. You want those to squish together. When you squish those together, it forces it to come in and kind of collapse on itself. And by squishing those up, that is what is forming this little valley of our blanket. So it's almost just an illusion. When I first started thinking about doing a chevron, I thought I was physically like going to be going up and down. And I guess technically I am, but it's way different in what my mind like thought it was going to be. So now I'm going to head up the mountain. Okay. Now, again, when we go up the mountain, we need a total of 8 double crochets, and we'll put 1 into each of the stitches. I'm looking for the landmark, and landmark when we go up is the tippy top of the row below. So you can see here there was 3 double crochets into this one space. So looking at these grouping of 3 here, the very center stitch, the middle, that is going to be our new mountaintop. So this should end up being stitch number 8. So I'm looking for that landmark, and we're going to work up the mountain. So again, a double crochet into each of these stitches, and you should have 8 of them. So we'll just move up the mountain here. Guys, thank you all so much for the heart me's this morning. If you want to send a heart me over on TikTok, all you have to do is click on this little plus sign on the heart. And if you have one coin, you can join the team and show your support. That's how those folks are doing that. Uh, Carly over on TikTok said, "Is there a video of how to start the first row after you chain? That is always the stressful part." Absolutely, Carly. So if you go over to my YouTube, we did this blanket from scratch last Thursday, and the live video is published on my YouTube channel. My handle is Wheeler 8 Acres. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's our 8 double crochets, and here is our mountaintop. So again, the first stitch should be stitch number 8. Now the very center stitch here, we're going to make a new mountaintop. And what we're going to do is we're going to put 3 into this one stitch. So you can kind of see there's the 2 bars. So start our first double crochet. There's number 1. Now I'm going to put a second. Now these are not together. We're just doing a total of 3 of them. Okay, so when you do 3 stitches into one stitch like this is technically called an increase. An increase forces these stitches to fan out, and this is what allows us to go up and over the mountaintop. We're going to crest over the mountain. So now again, I'm ready to head back down to this valley. You can see here, this was our 3 together that we did of the row below. And so I'm looking for this landmark as I do these 8 double crochets. So I'm just doing 1 in each stitch. And again, I'm going underneath both bars. So very easy, working our way down to the valley. Just do 1 in each of these stitches. And then when I think I'm getting close, I will stop and count these. And once you guys start doing this, you'll be able to see it right away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's number 8. Okay, so now here we are to the valley. When we get to the valley, you can see right here this little triangle shape that is on the pattern. See how there's 1 in each of those 3 chains? Those little loops are your chains. And because they come together at the top, this is a 3 together double crochet. And you can see that over here on the legend. And it sounds way more complicated than it is, but we're going to need to work into 3 stitches. So if I turn my work sideways here, you can see here is 1, 2, and 3. And we need a double crochet into each of these, but we're going to squish them together. Okay, so into the first stitch, I'm going to start a double crochet, yarn over, go under both bars, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now this is where the magic happens. Do not finish this stitch. You're just going to hold this. We're going to gather up a bunch of loops on our hook. Now we're going to look for our second stitch here, and we're going to start yet another double crochet. We're going to yarn over, go under both bars, grab up that loop. Again, yarn over, pull through 2. Now again, do not finish, just hold. Now we're going to look for the third stitch. You can see it here with both bars, yarn over, go under both those bars, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, again holding. So now you can see we have our starting loop over here on the right. Down below here, we have a total of 3 unfinished double crochets, a total of 4 loops up on top. Now what you're going to do is yarn over, and you're going to pull through under all 4 of those loops at once. You want those to squish together. You see how they squished together and kind of formed that V? Well, it's an upside down V, right? But it's this little upside down V. So when we squish these together, this is called a decrease. And by doing that, what it does is it pulls your blanket in. And that is what is creating this little lovely valley. So in my mind, when I started doing these patterns, I thought, oh, this is really complicated. I don't know if I can like get this. But hopefully, guys, the way that I'm explaining it, it could, make a little sense what we're looking to accomplish and how the stitches, they kind of are magic and how they make that work for you. Okay, so now we're going to head back up the mountain. Teeth 88, yes, I'm going to do this lots more times. I'm going to be on until 8:30. And if you want, you guys will be able to go back and rewatch this over on my YouTube, okay? So lots of options. And this is not the last time I'll be working on this pattern. When my dad passed, one of the things I wanted to work on this year was to do a minimum of one veterans blanket a month, or a wheelchair blanket that I could donate. And this is my kind of go to pattern, if you will. Sometimes I'll do it with more of the texture rows, but a lot of times I'm not in the mood to be counting stitches and doing a lot of complicated stuff, right? I'm just like you guys. Sometimes I need it easy. I don't want to like think and have to do a lot of counting. I just want something that I can sit back and relax and watch TV and just kind of chill. And that is this pattern. So you guys are going to see this a lot over the next year. Obviously, lots of different fun colors. So again, here was our valley. Now we needed 8 double crochets as we head up the mountain. Let me just count these: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Tawny, yes, I will show the stitch diagram again. So, guys, we've had a lot of new followers or people hop on both on YouTube and over on TikTok. So let me just run through this pattern again and kind of give you guys the breakdown. You can find links to this pattern on my link tree if you're on TikTok. On YouTube, you can find it in my link tree, which is in my bio. It's also linked in the video that you're watching today, the live. You can also see it on the replay of last Thursday. Last Thursday, we started this blanket from scratch. So what we did is we chained 20. And then I asked myself, is this big enough? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then I add 2 and it would be 22. My answer was no. So then I chained another 20. Now I have 40. And I asked myself, is this big enough? Yes or no? Again, the answer is no. So then I chained another 20. Now I have 60. I did this a total of 6 times and I came up with 120 chains, and then I added my 2. Now this 122 that I did, it includes this 3 here. So let's say you wanted to do more than 122, right? You go to 140, 160, 180. You keep going with your chains until you get it as big as you want it or as small as you want it. Maybe you want it smaller for a baby blanket. Lots of possibilities. This chain of 3 is included in this count, okay? So then what I did is I went in it to the back into the 4th chain and I added a double crochet. So whenever we do this pattern, when we get to the very beginning or over here at the very end, we always have 2 double crochets when we first begin or when we first end. And the reason why is that will help to keep your edges straight. Now, one of the things, I don't want to like bash on other people's patterns, but one of the things in a lot of the chevrons that I've done, they have uneven rows, uneven counts at the beginning and the end of the blanket. So, for example, on the Hugs and Kisses, you have 12 stitches in between. And then when you're on the edge, you only have 5. And to a beginner, I think that's kind of confusing. So the way that I wrote this pattern, it is not different when you first start out. It's 8, 8, 8, 8. No matter how wide you get it, it's always going to be 8. The only difference that you have to remember is when you're first starting out, you're going to have 2. Again, I put this on my Dropbox. There's a link on the link tree. If you're watching over on YouTube, you can find it in the body of the video, or you can find the link tree under my profile. I am using today a I9 5.5 millimeter hook, and the size that I'm doing is 35 inches, which is what my 122 is. Now, I have put different rows here. They're all the same. They're all the same repeating. I was just trying to kind of fill the space to show you guys how these stack on top of each other. So I hope that helps and makes sense as you are looking at the diagram. So again, here we are. This was our valley. We've done 8 as we head up the hill, again looking for the landmark. Here was our mountaintop of the row below. So into the very center stitch, that is our new tippy top. And so we're going to um, do 3 double crochets right into this same stitch, not together. We're doing an increase. Okay, so we have 3 stitches. Again, this allows the stitches to fan out. They kind of allow us to crest up and over the mountaintop. So now we can come back down to the valley. I'm almost to the edge here, guys, and then I'll talk about this edge and it'll kind of make more sense as we do this. So again, as we head down to the valley, we need 8 double crochets. We want 1 into each of these stitches. I'm going under both bars, nothing fancy about it, just simple double crochets 8 times. So as I get close to the valley here, here's how you can see the valley. Do you see this where it was kind of this upside down or triangle peak, whatever you want to call it? So again, I'm going to go back and count these stitches. So here's the mountaintop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's number 8. So now we're ready to do the valley. Okay, and I'm going to go real slow through this. This is what trips up a lot of people when they work on these blankets. So I kind of turn my work a little bit so that I can see the stitches. Okay, so here is 1, 2, and 3. So those are the 3 stitches that I'm going to be focused on. Into this first stitch, I'm going to start a double crochet. So I yarn over, again, go under both bars, grab up a loop, and then I yarn over and pull through 2. Now I just hold. Do not finish that stitch. Then I'm going to look for the second stitch here. So you can see it here. I'm going to start another double crochet. So I yarn over, I move to that second stitch, grab up a loop, again, yarn over and pull through 2. Now again, holding. Now I need a third one. So here's the third. Again, yarn over and make another double crochet, or I should say start another double crochet. Yarn over and pull through 2. Excuse me. So now we have our starting loop here on the right, and you can see I've got 3 unfinished double crochets. We have a total of 4 loops up on top. Now what I'm going to do is yarn over and I'm going to pull under all 4 of those loops. See how they squished up? You want them to like squish together, and it basically forms this triangle. This in crochet is what we call a decrease. And so when you do that by squishing up these stitches, this is what is forcing these to come down into this valley and form this little shape. Okay, so really it's just kind of an illusion. So up here at the top of the mountain we fan out, at the valley down here we squish them together. Anvil, did you like my little squish sticker that I made for all the subscribers? I thought y'all might like that. Thank you so much for the heart me's over here on TikTok. I'm trying to grow the team. If you want to send a heart me and you have all it takes is 1 coin, you can click on the little plus sign up here and send a heart me. And I don't know how many team members we have now, but quite a few. Oh, yeah, look at that little squish. Isn't that cute? I love it. Okay, so now we're ready to head up the mountain and we're heading to the edge of the blanket here. So again, we need 8 double crochets as we head up the mountain. And we're just doing 1 in each stitch. I'm going under both bars, nothing super fancy, just double crochets right up that mountaintop. Okay, so here we go. Let's do a count on these so we can kind of get this visualized how you're going to work your edge. So I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my turning chain. Somebody asked earlier, do you always chain 2? And the answer for me is yes, and I will show you why when we turn this. So I have 7 double crochets. I need to put number 8 right here into the very top of this turning chain. Okay, so now as you're working on these chevron blankets, can you see how my edge is very nice and straight here? Do you see how this stitch leans back? What we have to do is we have to put another double crochet right here into the edge. This is stitch number 9. And right into that same stitch, number 9, you can see now our edge is straight. So it basically fixes this lean back issue that these have because of how this was sloping into the valley. So whenever you end a row, you're always going to have two. So I had 8 plus the 1. Now I'm going to chain 2 or 3. This is kind of where you have to make the call. I'm going to show you why I chain a total of 2 instead of 3, but I'm going to chain 3 right now. A lot of patterns call for a chain of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now I'm going to turn my blanket. Sorry, bumped the camera there. Tight quarters here. I've got a lot of cameras here in my space. Get set back up here. Okay, so this chain of 3 that I just did counts as that first double crochet. Now again, we need another double crochet right here into this very first stitch. So when you look at this, let me get my hook out of the way here. Can you see how this stitch here, this chain of 3, is kind of bowing out? And do you see how all of this is very straight? This is why I do a chain of 2, because this to me, when I do a chain of 3, is too tall. It doesn't look as nice. So what I do is I reduce it down by 1. Now I have a turning chain of 2. Again, right back into that first stitch with my double crochet. And now can you see how that squished up that stitch and now it's not bowing out really big? So that is why I prefer to do a chain of 2. Now, with that being said, when I do my starting row, I do use a chain of 3. I don't know why. For whatever reason, when I do this very first one, a chain of 3 works better. But as I work these up, I'm doing a chain of 2. So now we're going to be working down into this valley. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to change colors here. So let me, before I get much further and mess this all up, I got to pull these couple stitches out. And I'm going to change, I need to work with my white color now. So basically the way that I'm doing this repeating pattern, you can line these up however you want. Sparky's making one of these. She's using ombre yarn. If you use ombre yarn, guess what? You don't have to change colors at all. And then you don't have a bunch of tails to weave in, which that's really nice. If you have some Caron cakes or anything like that would be great for this type of project because you don't have to weave in your ends. I'm doing lots of color changes, so I do have to do that. But when I add my color, again, I still do my chain of 2. Now into this first stitch again, I'm going to do my double crochet. So you can see here, this is the repeating pattern that I'm doing. I'm doing 2 white, then I'm going to do the variegated, 2 more white, and then I do 5 pink, and then I repeat this section up. So basically I have 5 pink and then 5 of this grouping. So it's 5 and 5, but this is kind of how I alternate my colors. Again, creative liberty, however you want to do it. April, show that other twisted double crochet you were doing for the first stitch. Um, let me pull this white out and I'll show you. So instead of on this, I actually do my chains. But one of the things I've been learning is when I turn my work, I kind of do a twisted, like standing double crochet. So what I do is I kind of pull my yarn up to the height of my hook. Then I wrap my yarn around and I kind of hold it here with my thumb. I go under both bars and then I grab up a loop. Then I yarn over and then I go under all of those and then I pull through 2. So it becomes more of a standing double crochet there. I think it looks nicer. But when I'm doing my, I guess it could work, but that's how I've been doing my standing double crochets. We're going to do um, a lot of those in the future, but for this pattern, I'm not actually doing that stitch. But it's I learned from the gal on YouTube, um, and I want to say she might be from Belgium, but I'm not 100% certain where she is from. But I do follow her over on YouTube, and I can't. It's like Tuula. Is it Tula Maria? Maaria. Her handle is kind of odd, but I really enjoy following her. Pause for a puzzle. 1 second here, guys. Okay, so again, I need my double crochet. Now, as we head down the mountain, we need a total of 8 double crochets. However, remember when we do this first one out, we had to have an extra, so we need a total of 9. So I'm just going to crochet down 1 double crochet in each of these stitches. I'm going under both bars, and nothing too fancy. When I get down here to the valley, I'm going to go back and count these. But again, I'm looking for the landmark. The landmark is where we did the 3 together of the row below. So let's count these. Again, my turning chain does count as a stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So now we're ready to do the valley stitch. Okay, so if we look at the pattern, for those that are, Sherry, stick with me here, hon. You're going to be able to wrap your mind around this, I promise. So here we had our turning chain. Then we did 8 double crochets. Now here we are to the valley. When you look at the pattern, you can see that these 3 little stitches, one goes in each of the chain. You come over here to the legend. This tells you DC 3 TOG. That means DC 3 together, double crochet 3 together, or 3 together double crochet. You'll hear that referred to. And so what this is telling us is we're going to do double crochets, but they're going to end up kind of in this triangle shape. Then we're going to head up the mountain, and again, we're going to do 8 double crochets. Then when we get to the tippy top of the mountain, you can see this oval here. That is your chain. Okay, so again, on your legend, and we're going to put 3 of these stitches into this mountaintop. These are double crochets. So as you're reading diagrams, see how this little T has this little hatch mark? You come over here and you find them on the legend, and again, you can see that's a double crochet. So that's how I know what I'm doing. Okay, so a 3 together double crochet sounds way complicated, right? And some of y'all might get scared off just by the name itself. I'm here to encourage you not to get scared off, and I'm going to show you how easy this is. So we look for our 3 stitches. Here's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I'm going to be working a double crochet. I'm going to start one under each of these stitches. So the first stitch, I yarn over, I go under both bars, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now, this is the magic. Do not finish this stitch. Okay, instinctively, you're going to want to yarn over and finish that double crochet. Don't do that. You just hold it. Now we're going to move to the second stitch, and we're going to start yet another double crochet. So we yarn over, go under both bars, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, do not finish, hold. Then you're going to move to the third stitch. Again, start another double crochet, yarn over, go under both bars, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, again, holding. So you can see here we have our starting chain over here on the right, or our starting loop. Then we have 3 unfinished double crochets. We have a total of 4 loops up on top. Now what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over and pull through all 4. You want those to squish up. So see how it becomes this little triangle shape? When you do that, what is happening is this is called a decrease in crochet. By going like this and squishing them up, you are forcing the sides of the crochet into this little V shape. It's all an illusion. You just squish them up. Now we're ready to head back up the mountain. Again, as we head up the mountain, you need 8 double crochets. I'm putting 1 into each of these stitches, okay? And I'm not doing anything fancy with these. I'm going under both bars, just doing a double crochet, and I'm looking for the landmark. And when the landmark I'm looking for is, do you see here where we did the 3 of the row below? These are all into the same stitch here, you can see. This is the landmark. When we do our next row, we're going to be putting the next mountaintop in the very center. So technically this should be stitch number 8 when I finish it. Then we do a new mountaintop. So again, you can see here on the diagram, here's our 8 double crochets. Here's our tippy top. Now here we're working on the second row. Do you see how this mountaintop here had our 3 double crochets? Do you see how this one now is pointing to the very middle? That is what that means. So it means when we get to the mountaintop, we're going to do these 3 again, but we're going to put it in the very tippy top of the mountain below. So that is the landmark that I'm looking for. So you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's number 8. And get back on there, little guy. As promised, that is the first stitch out of the grouping of 3 that we had. So now here is our new mountaintop. Into this one stitch here, we're going to do 3 double crochets. When you do any number of crochets, more than one, into a stitch like this is called an increase. So you'll hear that term in crochet. When you do an increase, it forces your stitches to fan out. So for example, like when I do my baby blankets and I put a ruffle on it, right? A scallop, a shell, all of those are technically considered an increase. Here we're using it because we want to go up and over the mountaintop. We want to crest over the mountain. So that is our new mountaintop. Now we're going to head down to the valley, again, looking for the landmark. You can see here is our 3 together. So I need 8 double crochets as I head down, again, 1 in each of these stitches. Just Me said, nice explanation. Very thankful for your time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And guys, I've seen lots of new followers popping on this morning. For those that don't know, my name is April and I am a hobby crocheter. I've been crocheting for 40 years and I learned from my mom and my grandma. And Mama Wheeler, I think, is this morning both on YouTube and over on TikTok. So Mama Wheeler is who I learned from. Obviously, I've come a long way since I learned when I was 9. I turned 49 this year. I'm going to be 50 in June. So a lot of years of crocheting. Now, with that being said, for a lot of years, all I did was granny squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's nothing wrong with granny squares. However, over the last, say, 3 years, I have really branched out and learned a lot of different stitches and patterns. And so I come on live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings and I just crochet with my friends. But I do. I'm a teaching TikToker, YouTuber, if you will. I want to try to give back, right? I want to try to encourage somebody who maybe is struggling with a stitch, or maybe is very new to crochet, or has wanted to take up crochet and has been kind of hesitant. Maybe you've been crocheting years and years ago and you haven't done it for a long time. I'm here to, maybe inspire you to pick back up your hook. Maybe check out a cool new yarn or a new pattern, or, just get inspired. That's kind of why I do this. Like I said, I crochet at 7 Central Time. I hop off at about 8:30, and that way I can go to work. I do work full time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, guys, if you did miss, we did this blanket. I started it on Thursday last week on the live from scratch, and you can rewatch that video over on my YouTube. My handle is Wheeler 8 Acres. So, for those that don't know, I am live both this morning on TikTok and on YouTube. And I do my very, very best to keep up with the comments, guys. With that being said, I do miss some of the comments. If you're a new follower, please, please do not take it personally. Um, Marine Mom said, hello, can you explain the decrease, please? Absolutely, I will. Give me just 1 second as I kind of do some housekeeping here, and then I'll go through it one more time or a few more times before I have to go to work. So again, I try really, really, really hard to answer all the questions, but it is a lot for me to try to keep up with, especially when the lives have a lot of comments and are very active. So this morning it looks like we have about 150 over on TikTok and upwards of 20 over here on YouTube. So full house this morning. Guys, thank you so much for all the hearts that are flying up the screen. I really appreciate all of the taps. And over on YouTube, I see a lot of thumbs up over there. So thank you so much for sharing out the live and tapping your screens. I really appreciate that. It definitely helps me to get in contact with new crocheters and kind of branch out. So thank you all so much for your support. I am going to show you guys the decrease here and kind of talk about these some more. So feel free if I have missed any questions, please ask again, and the mods will try to pin those for me so I can come back and revisit those. Gen X says time check 8:09, so we've got about another half hour. Okay, so let's talk some more about these stitches. So the pattern that I'm working on today is it's a chevron. And a chevron basically means when you see these blankets that go up and down, that's called a chevron. It's a very popular style of blanket in crochet. You'll see them done a lot. And there's a lot of different patterns out there. I have done a number of them. This is my own pattern that I came up with because I wanted something that was super, super easy, that the counts worked for me, and it made a lot of sense. So on my link tree, if you're on TikTok, you can find this under my profile. There is a pattern, the With Love. There's a link to the PDF and all of the yarns that I'm using. Today I did a starting chain of 120, and then I added 2. And so you ask yourself, well, how did she get that? This is a repeating pattern of 20. So what that means, these little ovals are called a chain. And you can tell that by looking on the legend. I come up here and find the little oval, and that tells me it's a chain. So what I did is I chained 20, and then I asked the question, is this big enough? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, you add 2, and then you're ready to start on your double crochets. If the answer is no, you add another 20. So I did 20. Is this wide enough? No. Add another 20. Now I have 40. No, still not big enough. Add another 20. Now I'm up to 60. I did that 6 times. 6 times 20 is 120. And then I added 2. And when I did that, I ended up with approximately 35 inches wide using a size I9 5.5 millimeter hook. That is what I'm using today with a 4-weight yarn. Now, one of the questions I've been asked a lot is this chain of 3 here, is that on top of this or is that included? That little turning chain is included. So then when I was ready to begin working this first row, I worked into the 4th chain. You can see there's 3 there, into number 4. I started with my double crochets. And as we do this pattern, it's the same all the way across. 8, 8, 8, 8. 8 double crochets down, 8 double crochets up, 8 double crochets down, 8 double crochets up. It's always 8. So I don't have to think about some of these patterns where they're like 12 here in the middle, and then when I get to the end, I got to switch and only do 5 or switch and do a different quantity. This is very easy. It's always 8. Now, the difference is when you are on your very edge starting out, you're always going to have a second double crochet. So this starting out will be 9. You'll do your 8, and then you're going to add an extra one, little number 9 there. Okay, so 8, 8, 8, and then always remember to add your extra one. So if we look at when we first started out here, I had my turning chain. I did a turning chain of 2, and then you can see I put a double crochet into that stitch. So that became the 9th stitch. So as I'm working along, I'm working 8 up the mountain. Then I get to the mountaintop here, and can you see these 3 white stitches? These are all into the mountaintop of the row below. So again, if we look at the pattern, here's our mountaintop where we do 3 into the mountaintop, and it goes right into the center stitch of the row below. So when I did my first chain, I did this decrease here, which we'll talk about in a second. And then when I got to this one, see how there's 3 into that one chain? That became my mountaintop. So now as I'm going up more rows, you can see how these 3 point to the center stitch. That's where the new mountaintop is going to be. So here we have our mountaintop. Then I have 8 stitches, 8 double crochets as we head down the mountain to the valley. I have 8 of these. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So now I'm here to the valley. And when we do our valley stitches, you're going to do what is called a 3 together double crochet. And the way that that looks on the pattern is it's this triangle that's like pointed downwards, okay? But you can see there's a chain there, a chain there, and a chain there. We're going to apply that same thing into how we're doing it as we work these rows up. You can find on the legend here what it is. Again, this sounds super, super complicated. It's not, and I'm going to walk you through it. So I kind of turn my work if I need to, because I want to get in my mind the stitches that I'm working into. So here's the one I just finished. You can see here 1, 2, 3 stitches. So those 3 are what I'm going to be working in. And then I'm going to make them squish together. Okay, so into this first stitch right here, I'm going to start a double crochet. I yarn over, go under both bars, grab up a loop, then I yarn over and pull through 2. Now this is where the magic is. Do not finish this. You're going to be tempted. You want to finish? Don't finish. You just hold it. We're going to gather these loops up. Now we need a second double crochet. So again, into this second stitch here, yarn over, go under both bars. Again, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you just stop. Do not finish that stitch. Now we're going to move to the third stitch here. Again, yarn over, go under both bars, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now you can see here we have our starting loop that we had over here on the right. And now down below here we have 1, 2, 3 unfinished double crochets. We have a total of 4 loops up on top. Now what we're going to do is yarn over and pull under all 4 of those loops. We want those to squish together. So do you see how it became this little triangle now? So this is what is in crochet called a decrease. Okay, so we're squishing these up. When we squish these up, this is what is causing the effect that this is coming down into a V because we just squished those. Now we're ready to head up the mountaintop. We're looking for the landmark up here. Here is our 3 that we did at the top of the mountain. You can see how it kind of goes up. So now we're going to do, again, 8 double crochets as we head up the mountain. Again, we are looking for that landmark as we move up the mountain. Guys, if you're a new follower here, good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining. My name is April. I am not an expert crocheter. This is not my profession, but I do come on and I try to explain stitches for new folks that are learning patterns. And every day I do something different. And so I really try to not just come on here and crochet and you guys watch me, but kind of explain what I'm doing. So that's kind of my goal, I guess you could say. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now here we are with our mountaintop. So again, here's the very center stitch. The one to the right should be stitch number 8. So we know we're on track. Now what I need to do is I'm going to put 3 double crochets right into this mountaintop. And I'm going to put them all into this same stitch, okay? These are not together. Instead, this is what is considered an increase. When you do an increase, the stitches fan out, and this is what allows us to crest over the mountaintop. So we're going to go up and over because those fanned out, and now we're going to head again down to the valley. So I'm looking to the row below for my little valley stitch, and I'm going to work 8 double crochets as we work down the mountain. So again, nothing fancy here. I'm going under both bars. It's kind of hard to see because when you turn your work, they kind of sit to the back, but I am going under both these loops here, and I'm just working a double crochet and just working my way down until I have 8 of them. And again, I'm kind of looking, once you start working on this blanket, those that kind of are further along, you'll be able to recognize these landmarks that I'm talking about. Okay, so here is our little valley. Now I just need to make sure that I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so now we're going to do another squish them up, another 3 together double crochet. So again, I'm looking for 1, 2, 3 stitches. So I'm going to be working into those 3. Again, sounds very complicated. It's not. Into this first stitch, you're going to start a double crochet. So I pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I do not finish this stitch. I just hold it. Now I'm going to look to the second stitch here and I'm going to start another double crochet. So yarn over, again, go under both bars, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, holding, do not finish. So now we have 2. We need 3. So now I'm going to move to this stitch and again, start a double crochet. Pull up a loop and yarn over and pull through 2. So now we have our starting loop. Here you can see we have 3 unfinished double crochets, a total of 4 loops up on top. Now I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through all 4 of those. Squish those stitches together. When you do this, this is called a decrease, and by squishing them together, it's what's causing this V to form as we head down the mountain. Okay, so now we're going to head up the mountain. Okay, so again, I'm looking for our little mountaintop here. You can see we have our 3 and they're all into one stitch. So this is our mountaintop. I'm looking for the very tippy top here. That's where I'm going to be placing the new mountaintop. So again, as we work up the mountain, we need 8 double crochets. Again, working these stitches under both bars, moving ourselves along. Now, as we get to the mountaintop, we're going to do what is called an increase. And again, there's all these fancy names, but when you kind of break them down and simplify them, they're really not that complicated. Okay, so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's number 8. Again, here is our mountaintop of the row below. You can see how these 3 were going into the same stitch. So number 8 goes here on the right. Now here in the very middle, we need 3 double crochets. Now these are not together. We're just doing 3 double crochets into that one stitch. This is what's called an increase. This allows us to fan out and we're going to crest up and over the mountaintop. And now we're going to head down into this valley again. Mark says, I learned this pattern by skipping stitches to the valley. Yeah, some of the patterns, you will skip stitches in here. This pattern that I'm doing has more of a solid look. So what Marge is saying is some of these you'll have more an open look into here, and this is a very solid style pattern, so it's just a little different. There's lots of different possibilities with chevron blankets, lots of different patterns out there. I wrote this pattern because I wanted something very easy that was wheelchair size, but also adjustable if I wanted to make something bigger, that just kind of made sense to me, that as I was working on it I could come on here and show folks that have never done a chevron how these stitches work together in a way, and try to explain it so that people who are maybe a little intimidated by a chevron blanket would see me crochet it and be like, I think I could do this. I've never thought I could do it before, but man, the way April explains it, it kind of is making sense to me finally. So again, here is our mountaintop where we had our 3 in the tippy top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I'm going to do a valley stitch here. Megan says, I just joined. Can you please show the whole thing you're making currently? Yes, I absolutely will. I'm almost to the edge here, guys. So this will be kind of a good stopping point. And I think it's almost time for me to go to work. So let me just finish this last little, I'll walk us out, so to speak. And then we'll kind of talk about the whole blanket again. So again, we have our 3 stitches here in the valley. Okay, there's our valley of the row below. Into this first stitch, I'm going to start a double crochet. So I yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2. Again, holding, do not finish that stitch. Into the second stitch here, I'm going to do, again, start another double crochet. So I yarn over, go under both loops, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now again, I'm holding. Now into this next stitch here, number 3, I'm going to start another double crochet. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. Excuse me, pull through 2. So now you can see here we have our starting loop and we have 3 double crochets unfinished, a total of 4 loops up on top. So now what you do is you yarn over and pull through all 4 of these. You want squish those together so it becomes this little triangle. That is our valley. So this in crochet is what is called a decrease. And when we do that, it is pulling this down, and that is what is creating that effect. Okay. So now we're going to head up the mountaintop. Now we're at the very edge of our blanket. Again, on the edge, we still need 8 double crochets. So let me pop those in here. Again, under both bars, nothing fancy about it, just 8 double crochets, and I put 1 into each of the stitches. So here is number 7. Now the very last stitch that I have here, sorry, my yarn, I didn't mean to bump y'all, make you guys go flying. The very last stitch we have here was our turning chain. Okay, so into this very last stitch I need to put stitch number 8. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, as you are finishing the edge of your blanket here, can you see how this stitch is leaning way over and it's not sitting up straight like the rest of these stitches? See how this is nice and straight? What you need to remember, it's very important, when you finish this last number 8, we need a second stitch here into this same stitch, stitch number 9. When you place stitch number 9, you'll see how that straightens up your work, and that becomes our very last stitch. So on the pattern here, you can see in this very last stitch, you're always going to have the 2. Now, when you're first starting out here and we do our turning chain, you're also going to have 2, an extra one. And that is what is helping to keep the blanket very straight. So it's 8:25 this morning. I'm going to run down the full thing of the blanket here for those that are just joining and kind of give you the lowdown, I guess. So you can see here, I started this on Thursday on the live. If you missed where we started down here at the very beginning with our turning chain, you can rewatch this on my YouTube. My handle is Wheeler 8 Acres. We did it on the live. Now, today we've worked a number of rows here as I've been explaining it some more. But basically, this is called a chevron blanket. The pattern that I'm using is the With Love pattern, and there is a link for this on my link tree. Now, if you're watching me over on YouTube this morning, this PDF, there is a link in the description of the video. You can also access my link tree on YouTube in my profile. Okay. Um, I am using a size I9 5mm hook this morning, and I am doing a wheelchair blanket that is 35 inches wide. And so I started with a starting chain of 122. This pattern repeats. Okay. So basically, what that means is I chained 20, and then I said to myself, is this big enough? Yes or no? If the answer is no, I added another 20. Yes or no? Still not big enough? Add another 20. I did that 6 times, 6 times 20. I got to 120, and then I added 2. Now, a lot of questions have been asked. This uh, turning chain here of 3, is this in addition to this, or is it included? This turning chain of 3 is included in the count. Okay, so basically I did 122. Then I went into the 4th loop from my hook, and then I did the first double crochet there, and that's how I worked it. Now this is just showing you the different rows stacked up, but they are all the same. We're only repeating one row. Very, very easy. If you're looking for a more of a challenge, the full width love pattern has multiple stitches in it. It uses the crisscross. It uses a skip stitch. I call it a skip stitch. It's a double crochet with the chain. Also, this is a repeating pattern. You can find this pattern in the link tree under the American Patriot blanket. So that is a little bit about the pattern this morning. So I hope that helps. Guys, I am going to be hopping off. So if you have not taken the opportunity to give me a follow, now would be the time to do that as we're kind of wrapping up the live. I am a hobby crocheter and I do have to go to work here in a few minutes. Also that we have a Discord channel. If you're interested in getting on the crochet chat server with all of our fabulous friends here, you can find links for that in the link tree as well. Good morning, everybody. I see lots of new folks popping on. Here, Julia says, thank you for explaining this. I'm going to try it. Awesome, awesome. I know there's a number of people that are working on this pattern. Guys, if you have a challenge or a question, you can DM me. I'm Wheeler 8 Acres on everything. So you can DM me on TikTok. You can send me a message on YouTube. You can replay these videos on YouTube. However, you need to get in contact if you have some questions. I do work full time, but I try to answer questions as timely as possible. So, anyhow, I hope you guys have all enjoyed that. Before I work on some more here, I wanted to show you guys what's on deck for tomorrow if you're wanting to join on tomorrow. I haven't done anything these in the past, but tomorrow I am making granny squares. Okay. I think we've had some questions about granny squares for some folks that are new to crochet. And so tomorrow we're going to be doing these fun colors. Basically, tomorrow, guys, I'm going to crochet whatever color you tell me within this scheme. I'm pulling out white, purple, pink, and blue, and you guys are going to spam the chat and tell me what color you want. Whatever you say, I'm going to do it. And so it'll be kind of a fun day tomorrow as we just work on a very basic granny square if you are a beginner crocheter. So that is what is on deck for tomorrow. So 7 Central Time tomorrow, and I will go until 8:30. If we get enough of these granny squares, I'm then on Thursday going to sew them together for a market bag. I think it'll be fun. It'll be kind of a relaxed day. Okay. So then we will crochet these together for a market bag. So here's here's what I mean if you don't know what I mean by a market bag. So this is obviously a different pattern, but we will crochet join these. So if you want to know how to do a market bag, we're going to do that on Thursday. I just have to get enough of the granny squares together. Okay. So we'll do crochet joins, which will be kind of fun. So here are some examples of market bags. These are ones I have not finished, but you can kind of get an idea. Okay. So I think that'll be a fun day for tomorrow. A lot of people know how to make granny squares, but some people do not. And so I think it'll be a great opportunity to kind of go over the basic granny square. It was very instrumental in my crochet journey, and so I think it'll be a fun day. So, yeah, the black one is really pretty. I have to finish the straps on that one, which is why I haven't. I have a lot of them. I have to do the straps on. I got kind of burned out. I don't really enjoy making the straps. I need to come up with a better way. So anyhow, I'm calling these unicorn granny squares. Don't they look like unicorns with the little this is what I think of with unicorn is this purple and pink and blues and whites. So anyhow, Deborah, have a good day. Thanks for being on over on YouTube. Um, so anyhow, guys, I am going to hop off and get ready to go to work here, but I hope everybody has a fabulous day. And I hope to see you guys in the morning tomorrow. Hey Sparky, I just wanted to say I saw your video. It's looking really good. I'm excited that you're trying that pattern. It's very cool. So thank you for tagging me in that. I love to see your guys' work when you're doing stuff that I'm talking about. It's really very cool for me. So anyhow, have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.